Okay, so let's talk about ecosystem services 2.2. So, ecosystems have a structure and they have diversity. Not all of them are the same, right? But it changes over time. They don't stay the same way throughout all of time. So, a lot of things can affect an ecosystem and cause it to change. A few things could be like erosion or weathering, extreme heat, extreme cold, plate tectonics, even severe storms, or even humans, anthropogenic changes. So, all of these things can affect an ecosystem and it's going to change it over a certain period of time, maybe long term, maybe short term. So, an ecosystem service is the contribution that an ecosystem gives to contribute to the quality or the survival of a human life. So, this one's very human related. It has nothing to do with the populations of the animals. I mean, it does, but when we refer to what the ecosystem can provide, it's providing humans. So this one's kind of the selfish topic. And there's four types we're going to talk about, like on this triangle. So the first one is a provisioning service. Just like it sounds, it provides some kind of resource to humans and it's provided for free by the ecosystem. So food, fresh water, lumber, genetic resources, medicine, air, that kind of stuff, warmth and the sunlight. Those are things that the ecosystem provides us free of charge, and it makes our life happen and it makes our life better. Why is medicine there? Because medicine comes from botanicals, plants. So we derive a lot of cures to many diseases through tropical plants in the rainforest. So for a long time, the argument was we're destroying these rainforests, we're burning them down, and we could be burning down the cure for AIDS, the cure for cancer, maybe the cure for COVID now. So that's been a long time argument going on. The second kind of service is a regulating service. Just like it sounds, it helps to regulate the different cycles and provide humans some kind of benefit. So this is a pretty lengthy list. The climate is regulated by the planet and by different ecosystems. We've got convection in the waters, in the air, to help keep our temperatures not too hot, not too cold. The earth is spinning and it creates this Coriolis effect, which also helps to cycle the clouds and the water and the air to kind of cool off or warm up our planet and keep it just right. Regulating service would be a natural hazard mitigation. Some kind of natural hazard happens and the earth has things in place to help lessen the damage that occurs. Things like floods, we have mangroves in place to help absorb the blows of storm surges. We have a lot of vegetation in place, so if it's not bare ground, a flood won't be as damaging or eroding the soil as much because the roots are in place to hold the soil there. Water gets purified as it goes inside the earth and goes through the rocks, so that's a natural regulating service that the earth provides for us. Insects and birds and some bats pollinate flowering plants and help them to multiply and to produce fruit and vegetation and food for us. And that's a free service. Otherwise, we would have to go hand pollinate all of the flowers, which is a tie into what's going on with the bees. Some farmers are actually going out there and hand pollinating, and it's a big, huge time uh, drain that the bees used to do for free for them. Pest control. So nature has a way of controlling pests. We use pesticides to kill off a lot of stuff in our agriculture, but if we just planted in a smart way and mixed up our crops, the pests only eat a portion of the crop and leave the rest of it there. But when we put miles and miles of corn there, the pests are there like an all-you-can-eat buffet. So it's our bad agricultural practices that cause that. Runoff. Nature helps us control our runoff. Again, with the vegetation, it helps to keep the soil percolated so it'll absorb the water and the water won't run off and erode the topsoil. Nature also helps with our air quality. It disperses pollutants with the wind patterns and it lessens the concentrations of bad things in the air. So those are all things that the earth just does for us, and it helps regulate all the things and the cycles on the earth. The next one is cultural services. So this is the things that you can't really put a material value to. So a lot of cultures are spiritually enriched by nature. It's a sacred place for them. Just the fact that it exists gives value in people's hearts. Maybe you're never going to go to the rainforest, but just knowing that it's there for you gives you some kind of joy or pleasure or appreciation to know that it's there. Also, recreation. People like to go visit places and see the beautiful things on the planet. And so, also tourism. So, nature's fun to go play in and ride the rivers or do the waves or hike the mountains, but it's also an activity for humans to go visit different countries and look at all the variety of the planet. And then the fourth one is supporting services. So that's a service provided within the ecosystem that supports other services provided by that ecosystem. So the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the phosphorus cycle, all that nutrient cycling has to happen, and that's a supporting service that nature does for us. We don't have to go out and make it happen. Same with the water cycle. The sun runs it. How soil forms and how we get nice deep layers of soil is all something nature does for us to help us grow plants and crops and food, as well as photosynthesis. So this is just kind of the idea that there's all these services out there that help us be alive and well and flourish as humans. And we need to appreciate that nature is providing all of this, and we need to recognize that we are ruining a lot of those services, and what are we going to do about it? So I like this graphic because it kind of sums everything up and shows you these services in a real life situation. It's not just like a box or a graph showing you four things that the earth does for you. So you can kind of see the relationship and how it's all interconnected. So make sure you understand all these ecological services, ecosystem services, and you're able to apply them to different situations and be able to write about them in an FRQ.